Over the past few years, Riot Games have been making an FPS game. Not just any FPS game either, a class-based shooter that they're saying they hope will become the next big competitive game. Before we get stuck into what we know about the game though, we should first just recap on who and what Riot Games are, because their history and heritage goes a long way to showing how serious they are about this new game. So Riot Games were founded in 2006, and in 2009 they launched their debut game, a little one that you may have heard of, League of Legends, a MOBA that took what Dota had and made it more accessible. Since its launch, it's gone on to be one of the most played games on PC. Recent figures show that the game has an active player base of over 80 million monthly players and millions log in every day to play. One of the reasons the game is so popular is because of its constant updates, new champions, and gaming tournaments. When it comes to League of Legends, tournaments are a big thing, and the prize money is substantial. The 2018 World Championship had a first place prize money of $2.4 million, and even the third to fourth place team got their share of $450,000. The amount of buzz and money around the game still is crazy, but that's the way that games are going. When it comes to Riot's new game, it's possible that the FPS genre may not have the same sort of impact as a MOBA, but considering Riot's history with League of Legends tournaments, it goes to show that the new game will absolutely have the competitive support it needs. So what is it? Well, at the moment we know it as Project A, and it's a class-based shooter. We don't know an awful lot so far, other than that it's based on Earth set in the near future, and there seems to be at least one mode that is round-based. It's said to be a mix between Counter-Strike and Overwatch. We see a team winning thanks to the elimination of the enemy team, but we also notice a large B on the wall, perhaps indicating that there are multiple objective points that you have to either defend or attack. We also know that, at least in this early promo video, the graphics are quite simplistic. It's not that it doesn't look good, I think it looks fine, but when compared to other games, the graphics and visuals are heavily stylized and definitely stripped back. What's hard to know at this point though is that if this is by design, i.e. they want to make a die-hard competitive game here without any of the clutter, probably for the best, or if it's just because the game is at a really early stage and we're seeing a basic build. In fairness, we don't have a lot of HUD on the screen either, so we do have to accept that this is not a final representation of the game. With that being said, I don't mind personally that the levels look relatively basic if the gameplay itself is there. You know what they say, the most simple games are often the best, and from what we've seen so far, it's fair to say that a lot of people are comparing this to CSGO and, as I said, Overwatch. Or at least the very small amount that we've seen so far is very Counter-Strike Global Offensive-y. The gunplay, at least the very small amount that we've seen so far, is definitely CSGO-esque, with assault rifles, snipers, and quick snap aiming. It also seemed to be that headshots dealt brutal damage just like in CSGO. One thing that isn't really CSGO though was that it had aiming down the sight, which was also possible from the gameplay that we saw. It's not clear if that's just for certain weapons though, or perhaps on all of the characters, maybe it's a skill, but it didn't seem though it was a detriment to accuracy to not aim down the sight either and just hip fire from what we saw. And as I mentioned, this is also a class-based shooter, and while we don't have any hard details on the classes right now, we do know that they're going to have unique abilities, both offensive and defensive. We've seen offensive abilities such as a character that can move really quickly with a dash ability and fire off lethal blades that can kill seemingly in one shot to the head. We also saw a character put down a defensive wall and a bubble and revive a teammate. Other than that though, we don't have a whole lot to go on. We didn't see a whole lot of weapons either. We saw a sniper, an assault rifle and a shotgun, no sidearms from what I could tell. In one of the short clips, it does look like there's some kind of a buying inventory system on the screen too, maybe a currency similar in the vein of Counter-Strike. Riot also made a point of saying that they put a real focus on a few key points, important stuff. One of those is netcode, and they mentioned low tick rates, bullets not registering, and promised that they're doing their utmost to deal with that at the source. Interestingly, they also reference Peeker's advantage. That's a pretty common thing in FPS games, and even games like CSGO do have this still. It's when a player is peeking or moving, and they've got the advantage of seeing a player first due to latency. It's not a particularly easy problem to fix though, but it seems to be one that Riot Games are seriously keen on addressing from the get-go, or at least trying to mitigate it. In fact, they say they're going big with global infrastructure, netcode, and they're going to war on things like Pika's advantage, and that's a pretty bold statement. It does look like the game's running on Unreal Engine 4 too, so I assume that it's going to have the latest tech in there for netcode. One of the other big things that they talked about was cheating. We all know how frustrating cheating can be in competitive PC gaming, and Riot seems keen to ensure that this is as minimal as it can be. The reality is that there will always be cheats that sneak through the cracks, but it's great to see the developers coming out of the gate to reassure us that they're going to have a dedicated custom system designed to limit cheating. During the promo video, it showed off a cheating test in the background, and on the screen of one of the players it had a very large message saying that a cheater had been detected and the match was terminated. It said that no player will receive either a win or a loss for the game. Now this is clearly a work in progress system that they're trialing, but I'm guessing that they want a direction where if a cheater is detected in the game, that in an ideal world, the game will just be terminated. Of course, how effective this is will largely depend on how good the anti-cheat integration is and how far the cheat developers are willing to push this. So we'll just have to wait and see. The proof is in the pudding. Interestingly, the game also has some big names working on it, names that are very well known in the competitive community. One of those names is Sal Garozzo, otherwise known as Volcano. Now Volcano is a well-known ex-Counter-Strike professional, back when Team 3D were operational in Counter-Strike 1.6. He's also a level designer, and you'll know him if you play Counter-Strike from his work on DE Cache, which has just recently had a visual overhaul in CSGO, and that was a joint venture between Volcano and FMP1. From Volcano's Twitter though, it seems that he's been working on this project for the past few years, so it's definitely been something in the works for a while, and by the sounds of it, it will be in development for a lot longer. The short video that we got said that they're going to go heads down on the game and stay quiet for a while as they knuckle down and carry on development, and the next time that we'll hear from the game will be in 2020, but there will no doubt be some teasers on their social media now that the cat is out of the bag. Apparently they've been bringing in competitive and ex-competitive Counter-Strike players too for years now to test this game and give feedback on it, so we could hear information about the game from them, but I'd guess that they're all under NDA. Project A, it looks interesting to me. Overwatch, yes, it's a great class-based shooter, and CSGO is the pinnacle of skill-based FPS gameplay. Project A, if done right, could perhaps blend the two together with an interesting experience. Riot have said that they promise that just like League, they're in this for years to come, and combined with the size of the company and the infrastructure that they absolutely have the means to develop and provide tournaments to push this game forward. Riot Games apparently employs over 2,500 people in over 20 offices worldwide. It's a big company, and it's owned by none other than, you guessed it, the Chinese powerhouse Tencent, who seem to own or just have shares in about everyone in the gaming industry. Another thing we don't know about Project A though is how much is the game going to cost, or not at all. Of course, judging by the model they use for League of Legends, there's a good chance it's going to be free to play. League offers the core game for free, of course, and then there's premium content that you can get hold of like cosmetics and various things. So there's a good chance that they might do the same with Project A. Weapons, character models, and so many other things could be customized, just like it is with other free-to-play games like Fortnite and Apex. A few years ago, League of Legends made over $1 billion in microtransactions, and that's a model that I'm sure Riot would like to try and replicate with their new games. Sadly, all we have to go on right now is the teaser that I've been showing you in this video, but hopefully we get to see more real gameplay in the next few months, so can we really judge how the game's going to play at the moment? I don't know. Counter-Strike with a mix of asymmetric characters. Will it work? I don't know. Let me know down in the comments below. What are your thoughts on this? What I can say for sure though is that this game will be incredibly popular whether it's free to play or not. And I'd say it's a safe assumption to guess that Riot Games have developed this from the ground up to be integrated with live streaming platforms like Twitch, and for esports, spectating, all that good stuff, casting. I'm sure that whenever it releases the same year, maybe the next, they'll have some big epic tournament with millions of dollars in prize money on the line and tons of franchises battling each other. With that said, thank you for watching the video today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like. If you didn't, a dislike. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.